Hello everyone, I'm your host Filippo Altea and Aurora Fellows, and it's a great pleasure for me to be interviewing and dialoguing with our guest, it is Pat Yongpradit. Pat, it's a great pleasure to have you today.
It's very nice to be here, Filippo. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Well, Pat, you are in the computer science field, and so I will like to begin to this interview, this conversation, asking you to tell us about your story, about your path through the education and also through your personal career.
Okay. Well, I was lucky in that I went to the same school from kindergarten to 8th grade. So for 9 years straight, I went to the same school. And it was a great experience. It was a small private school, but it gave me a great experience. For example, in 5th grade, that was the first time I learned how to program. And at that time, learning how to program as a kid was a very special thing. And I learned how to program using a language called Logo, a very popular language back then. And I learned how to program robots, and it was a very new experience for everyone. And I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. But then in high school, I also got to attend a special program for science, mathematics, and computer science at the high school level. And again, I got to learn how to learn computer science for probably all 4 years of my high school experience. Again, something very unique, very special. If a student at that time learned how to program at all, even just for 1 year, that would be special. But I got 4 years. And from there, I really started to enjoy just creating programs. It was fun creating something in a digital world. Most of the time you have to put things together to make something, but I liked how clean it was to make something and how straightforward it was, but also still how creative it was. Mm-hmm. And then at the university level, I actually majored in science because no one really told me that there were careers in programming and in computer science. No, I didn't have anyone around me that was doing that, so I just did what I thought I was good at, which was science. Somewhere in university, I decided I didn't want to pursue being a researcher, so I decided to become a teacher. And then I taught for 13 years. And now here I am at Codeorg. So I taught for 13 years science and computer science at the middle and high school level. And now I've been at Codeorg for 8 years doing work with computer science.
Wow. That's a great path, actually. It's really nice to hear you. And before I'll ask you to explain us what inspired you to become a teacher, can you tell us more about Codeorg and what is the mission and the vision of this super organization that we want also in Europe, I will tell you.
Yeah. And if anyone is watching this, they can certainly visit our website, code.org. Codeorg is a nonprofit. It's a U.S.-based nonprofit, but that works internationally as well. And so we create curriculum for free. We train teachers. We do policy and advocacy work at the state, national, and international level. And we also do a lot of promotion around computer science. And you've heard of the Hour of Code. It's probably the world's largest educational event every year. Codeorg's mission, we do all of that because we want every student in every school to have the opportunity to learn computer science. And we focus on students who are underrepresented in computer science these days, usually students who are, young women and, students from different race and ethnicities that are less represented in computer science.
Cool. So it's a great mission. It's lovely to hear you that. And also, looking at your website, I was looking at the K12 Framework, which is like a set of rules and like principles that you suggest to people to embrace this mission. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so the K12 computer science framework was created because in the US, there are 50 different states and 50 different departments of education. And in the US, computer science was becoming popular, but there wasn't a very clear understanding of what computer science is, what do you teach, when do you teach it, how do you put it into schools, just everything. And so there was a need to create a framework, like you said, principles and guidance around how to create computer science programs, how to create computer science curriculum, etc. And so a number of states got together with Codeorg, with a number of other organizations to work together to create this framework together. And now this framework actually is still being quoted and still being used to inform other countries' frameworks as well.
Mm-hmm. So it's like giving to everyone the opportunity to embrace computer science. That's look like, no?
Yeah, that's right. It gives people, one of the most important aspects of the K12 CS framework was to give people a vision of why computer science is important and what it would look like if it was implemented throughout an education system.
Mm-mm. And so, starting from here, why do you think that computer science is that important?
Well, there are multiple reasons. I'd like to start off by saying how computer science is like a superpower. It's a superpower that you can use to make the world better in a variety of ways. And so in this world that we live in right now, it's a very digital world, right, Filippo? Here we are. Yeah. You're in Italy, right? You're in Italy, Filippo?
No, Lisbon, actually. But...
Oh, okay, Lisbon. And here I am in Maryland in the U.S. and here we're having a conversation. That's because of the internet and because of an app that people made, that's in a browser that people made, that's on a computer that people made. And so this power is connecting people all over the world. And when you give young people, the power to learn this, they're able to also create things that will hopefully better the world. Whether it's medicine or whether it's agriculture, whether it's zoology or biology, kids are able to use this superpower to pursue their own interests and pursue different careers and make those, make exciting things. So that's the number one reason. I think it's a superpower that can change the world. And then there are lots of other reasons as well. Obviously, the jobs are in high demand. They pay very well. And students who get access to learning computer science have the opportunity to participate in that type of workforce and those types of jobs and change their lives and change their families' lives. Yeah. And then also, I think it's just a fairness thing. There's lots of kids in the US right now who go to high schools where computer science is being taught, but then there are also a lot of other kids. I think over half of the high schools in computer science still don't teach computer science really. And so even if they wanted to, they can't learn it. Filippo, I don't know if all the schools in Lisbon teach computer science, but imagine if you're a student who goes to a school that teaches it and a student who doesn't, it's kind of unfair. So that's another reason why we promote computer science, because I think it's just a fairness issue.
Fairness, such a good point, because also it's about the future, no? When you educate, you want also to give opportunity of job seeking, and that area is important to be fair. I totally agree with you, Pat. And thinking about your career, in the moment when you stopped to pursue the computer science to take your degree and then you came back, when did you realize that computer science was your field, was your opportunity to leave your mark in the world?
Yeah, so I studied neurobiology at the university level because I liked it and I thought I was good at it. I didn't want to become a researcher, and I was volunteering in a school with kids, and I realized how much I loved working with students. So I became a teacher and I got my master's in teaching to teach science. And so I taught science at the middle school level and 1 year at the high school level. And then I started thinking, what else is out there? I've always enjoyed computer science, and the computer science teacher was leaving. So I thought, why don't I make a change and teach computer science instead? And as soon as I started getting back into the books and then obviously teaching kids, I just grew, it reignited a passion for it. A passion that I had previously, but that I had forgotten about. And I just loved again how engaging it was, how fun it was. And especially when the students learned it, they really liked it. It wasn't just another school subject. It was something that they wanted to do, and they wanted to do more and wanted to do at home and make cool things. So, that's how I got around from teaching science to computer science. And I think, when people get to when anyone, no matter what their job, gets to do something that they really are passionate about and love, really good things happen. And so I was lucky that I got to teach a subject that I really was very passionate about.
Well, it was also a matter of choice, no?
Yeah. Yep.
You have a moment where you had to decide what I'm going to do. And you did a great choice, actually, also to inspire people and teach how potential could be computer science. That's great.
Yeah. Actually, in Filippo, there's actually a lesson there, because the reason why I majored in science was just because I was good at it in high school. And I thought, why not just do that in college? But I really had no intention of becoming a scientist. I just did it because I thought it was the right thing to do. But I switched to education, which I was more passionate about. And then even within education, I chose a subject that I was passionate about. Mm-hmm. And so only when I started choosing things that I was more passionate about did I feel like I was walking a path towards real success.
Yeah.
So, there's a lesson there for all the Aurora fellows, and whatever they do. Yeah.
I could imagine that it was not the easy choice. It was the hardest one.
No, it was definitely a harder choice to, these were hard choices. It wasn't an easy road, but it was made easy just because it was something that I really wanted to do. It wasn't hard to do it. It was hard to do. It was harder work, but it wasn't hard to do it.
So great. So follow your passion always to achieve real success. That's the message.
Yeah. And just don't be afraid.
That's great. That's great. We were talking about the superpower of computer science to connect people. Also, I like the idea. Once in a webinar, I heard once they were saying that computer science is also a language to connect human to computers and so to technology. So for that reason, maybe isn't it only for specialists, for technicians, or like in your imaginary world, everyone knows the basic of computers?
Oh yeah, everyone knows the basics for sure. I mean, think about it. Think about it, Filippo. We have such powerful machines, even just in our pocket, right? We have powerful machines that are able to do anything, connect with anyone in the world, send anything to anyone. When you put this up on YouTube, anyone in the world can see this. And so if you have the power to really instruct these powerful machines, then you have a very, like what I call it, a superpower, but you have a very powerful medium for connecting with the world and influencing the world. And so really, if everyone had this opportunity, think of, everyone, you too, like sometimes we think of these great ideas or these great, this would be a great app, or this would be a great website or whatever, or this would be a great idea. With computers, you can really make some of these ideas a reality. And you don't have to go out and, put stuff together or find, stones and wood and all that. You could just type on a keyboard and make it happen. So it's very amazing. So if more people have that power, I believe, the better society can be.
It's a great message. Yeah, totally agree with you. And so, okay, we are all convinced. We all want to study computer science now, thanks to you, Pat. But where to start? If, for example, our school, our university is not providing the right course of computer science, or maybe we are studying literature, for example, how to approach this complex?
Oh, well, I would say if you are studying a different subject and you're interested in computer science, I would suggest doing an internet search and saying literature and computer science. And you'd be surprised. There are actually lots of connections between computer science and other fields. Mm-hmm. And so you don't have to leave your field to learn about computer science. You can stay within your field and learn about computer science, number one. But number two, in terms of actually learning how to program, obviously you have to go to do a course or learn from someone or something, or from a book or whatever. For most students, I obviously suggest Codeorg, not because of just our materials, but because we are, unlike many other companies, we actually promote other organizations' materials as well. So there's lots of materials out there. So if one of our things don't work for you, there's lots of other things that might fit with what you want to do. So I would say for anyone, you can start at Codeorg. For adults, you can also start at Codeorg as well. But for you, you'll probably, as a university person, I'm sure most universities have some type of computer science department, hopefully, that you can connect with and see. Even if you can't take the courses, there might be opportunities to attend a club or go to a tutor or something, and they might help you out.
Yeah, cool. I really like the fact that you are saying to stay in our field and find a connection. Because coming back to the previously we were saying that we don't have to be technicians, so we can really do innovation thanks to computer science, keeping our field. That's a great message.
Yeah, that would be an important thing. I don't want everyone to become software engineers. I want people to use computer science in other things.
That's great. That's great. Okay. We were saying that computer science, it's also fairness nowadays. So a lot of, for example, scholarship are based on gender, or, for example, as we were saying, minority races. So it is also an economic factor that computer science we are trying to spread it all over. And which are the main difficulties in doing that?
The main difficulty in
is it all about culture or what?
You mean the main difficulty in spreading it, meaning, are you talking about the opportunity to learn it or participation? These are two. So the opportunity means it's there and anyone can take it. So it's in your school and you can take it if you want to. Participation means actually getting everyone to participate equally. Like, which one are we talking about?
Okay, first to opportunity, but we kind of explained it that it's also your mission to make
the opportunity. The opportunity. The biggest barrier is usually just training teachers, because you can't have a computer science class without a computer science teacher. So it's training the teachers. And Codeorg over the last 8 years has, with our partners and all that, we probably trained close to 120,000 teachers. That's a lot. That's all in the U.S. And yes, we have some international partners that train teachers as well, but we don't count that. So, that's the biggest barrier, and that's what we work on.
Because it's ever changing, right? It's like a run over time to.
Yeah, and teachers are already doing a lot of things already, so it's kind of hard to convince teachers to try something new. It's very scary, but I think a lot of them understand that computer science is worthwhile, and they give it a shot. So I'm very proud of them for for not being afraid. As for the participation, let's just talk about equal participation among men and women. A lot of that has to do with how computer science is taught, like the goal of the computer science class, the environment, the atmosphere. Computer science traditionally has been a very male-dominated field, and because of that, it's just not very inviting to women, unfortunately. I even remember at my high school, it just wasn't very inviting. It wasn't. So we're working on that at Codeorg in terms of creating curriculum that is more inviting and inclusive of lots of a broader range of interests. We're focusing more on, introducing computer science as a subject that is used to do good in the world, like social good. And we train our teachers to use inclusive practices that, and really to address their own bias that they might have about who belongs in a computer science class.
Oh, that's a great work.
Yeah.
So kind of the problem, it's in our brains, it's in how we think, and maybe in the gender gap that we unconsciously continue to keep in our mind, addressing one race, addressing one sex to a particular kind of a job. But actually, it's a potential in also that part that we are not taking.
Yeah.
I really think a thing that I really like of Codeorg is how you use gamification to explore computer science as a first steps. Is a key element of your strategy. How it is important to have fun while you are learning.
Yeah, I mean, it's for students, that's one of the big draws, that's engaging, that's interesting, that it's fun. And so from the beginning, we try to make all of our experiences fun and exciting and colorful. And actually, that's also a reaction to how computer science is traditionally taught. It's traditionally taught in a very boring, dry way. So we wanted to make it more entertaining. And, I think it's had a lot of success, that approach.
Could be also used in other subjects, in your opinion?
Sure. Yeah, I think it's already happening in other subjects. Lots of other subjects are looking at gamification and making things more engaging. We are lucky at Codeorg because, we are lucky. And when I say we, I think I'm talking about not Codeorg, actually. I'm talking about in the US, computer science teachers are lucky that there is a Codeorg out there that is working so hard to put teams of experts together to create engaging curriculum, because teachers don't have the time to be able to do this. They want to, but they don't have the time. It takes a long time to create curriculum the way we do. That's both exciting and informative. So I think computer science teachers are lucky that this kind of thing is being made, and it's being made and put out there for free. I think that's a very important thing, that it's free.
Okay, talking about the figure of the computer scientist, how it has to be, in your opinion? What are the three main characteristics of a great computer scientist?
Yeah, someone that is doesn't give up, that's persistent. In computer science, it doesn't matter how good a computer scientist you are, something will not work. And so you're going to have to figure out why it doesn't work and fix it and not give up. Maybe you'll get frustrated, but you have to deal with that frustration and understand that it will lead you towards the solution. I think the second characteristic to make a good computer scientist is to know why you are creating what you are creating, and to understand the audience for who you're creating it for. I think that's understandable just like that. And then I think the last thing is probably just to be open to learning all the time, learning more and more. Things change in the world of computer science so often, the different languages, the different technologies. Mm-hmm. You have to be a student who's constantly learning and open to learning. Even if the topic is the same, learning how to do it more efficiently, learning how to be able to communicate it to others and explain it to others and teach it to others. That's important as well.
That's great. That's great. It seems like we are lacking of hard skills, and we need a lot of soft skills to approach these subjects. Is it right? Okay, you of course have to learn the language. You of course have to work hard to understand how to make a program and to create algorithm, but you need also a lot of soft skills.
Of course, I mean you need soft skills in anything, in any field. So yeah, and especially in the field of computer science, because people feel like you don't need soft skills because you're just working with computers. You're not working with humans. But honestly, obviously in computer science, it's not just you have a team of people you're working with. You have clients that you're working for. Mm-hmm. You have other colleagues. It's a very people-oriented field, even though in the end something's happening on a computer and the computer doesn't have a relationship with you. It's the stuff that happens around it. The computer part is just like a small part, like as the tool. It's the other parts that are probably even more important.
So we can forget the image of the nerd guy that is programming every day. Okay, we need also that part, the technical part, the art part, but it's also about connection.
Yeah, that technical part is actually one of, I would say, almost sometimes the easier part.
The easier part, wow.
Yeah, the easier part, but like understanding if we're just talking about software engineering, understanding where to spend our time, why are we spending our time, what questions are we trying to solve, who are we trying to solve it for? These are the things that are more important. The design of it, these are the things that are more important. Just making it happen often is just a result of everything else going right. And then when you even make it happen, how do you communicate it to people? How do you get people to use it? All those parts are like very human oriented and not, computer oriented.
It really reminds me the structure of building a business idea. There is everything you have because in a way you are creating an idea, no? You are introducing an idea into a language, an app, a program, an algorithm.
Exactly. Yep. Filippo, what do you study?
Economics.
Oh,
economics and management.
Yeah, well, there's lots of economics and computer science going on. Like a lot of these large studies in economics, you have to do a good amount of creation of algorithms to kind of do that type of analysis, economic analysis.
Yeah. I'm more into management and business strategy, to be honest. So I'm more for programming and algorithm for apps or business ideas.
Cool.
Yeah. And that's a great part. Also, for example, in my personal story, I attended a course of Python. And I think that the problem is that at the end of it, I'm not able to do anything but simple programs, but I don't connect it to the real need of everyday life. For me, it's just ideas, and at the end I attended two courses. One about about general topic of computer science, science and the other to the language. But still, at the end of a bachelor, a student doesn't know how to put things where the rubber meets the road, you know? And so what could be an advice for a student like me, in your opinion?
Well, the best, there are two. These are, so one piece of advice would be to, if you can, get an example of a program that is already created, whether an app or, and take a look at the code, just understand, something that you would have wanted to create or something close, and then look at the code just to understand how it was created and do little modifications. And so now you're working with something that would be pretty hard to create on your own from nothing, but you're able to just look at it, understand it, modify it, play with it, just to get something different. A lot of people do this with video games. They download video game code and then they change things just to understand, how things are working. And then they're able to create their own video game as well. That's the first piece of advice. The second piece of advice would be to take a look at some of the hardest projects that you had already completed in your other courses, your Python course or computer science course, and then turn it into something different, something that you enjoy, something that you like, something personal to you. For example, for me, right now, I'd probably create an app that allow swim timers to report times for a swim meet immediately and directly to a computer. So for example, right now, I'm volunteering for my daughter's swim team. And there are 8 lanes, and for each of the lanes, there's 3 timers, and they time with a stopwatch, and then they report it on a piece of paper, and the paper gets taken from each lane, and then they hand it over to the person with the computer, and the computer person types it in. It's so slow, and it makes the swim meet very long. Now, if you had an app where you're just starting and stopping the times, it would just be immediate. You say what lap number, what lane number you're in. I'm lane 4, and then you just click the times, and it just gets sent to the computer immediately. The computer does it all much faster. So that's a personal thing for me, right? It's actually not that hard to create. That would be my advice as well. For a student to think about, what is something that they would want to create? Look at their previous coursework and try to use that to create something that they want to create for themselves.
That's a great message, actually, because if we want to find it, I think there is plenty of things that where we can apply the computer science and we can improve the way. Because as we said, the time is running so fast, technology is running so fast, so it's difficult to keep the pace, and so we got to work and build our programs in a way. Yeah. Okay, that's great. What do you think will be the future of this field of technology, of computer science? What's next? Because we saw a lot. There is artificial intelligence, there is the blockchain. There's a lot to understand in very few years, few time that we have. What's your opinion about it?
There are already those technologies right now, like AI. Obviously AI is already being used in a variety of fields. I see that continuing. I'd have to think about it. The future. I don't think it's going to be anything different than what's already happening right now, just faster and broader. What I mean by faster is faster decisions being made for complex things, and like using AI, but then or image recognition, and then and broader, meaning it's just applied into a variety of areas, like just expands, just where it's being used.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would say. I think I'd have to think about it more to come up with something more cool to say. But yeah.
No worries, no worries. It was just my curiosity, because when you are studying computer science, for me it was like that I was afraid of what is going to be next, because my studies will be always obsolete in a way. And so I was like, well, but if I'm not able to do something with AI, if I'm not able to understand blockchain, how can I be ready to what's next? But I think the point is that we don't need to be all technicians, no?
Yeah, I think we just need to know the basics of, what's the purpose of blockchain, where is it being used, those kinds of things. I think that's important for everyone to understand. But yeah, no, we don't all need to be technicians.
Okay, for me, we have concluded. So thanks, Pat. It was such a pleasure to have interviewed. Hope it was a nice conversation also for you. For me, it was super interesting to hear those things from you.
Yeah, thanks, Filippo. Thanks for having me.